All right, ready for it? Ready,
Nope.
folks?
Nope.
Here goes.
You're not ready for this jelly. You're not ready.
Nope. Here goes. Ready?
Corgis!
Corgis! Yeah, that's a thing now. I got really bored.
Those are all graphics from a onesie that our son wears. That it's baby corgis.
Yep.
In fact, Bobby, did it make it back up to the room?
No, it's still sitting down here in case I need to make more of them.
What if he wants to wear it?
Well, then I'll take pictures of all of them, and then we can go from there. And then I'll turn them all into graphics.
I'm just saying, if he wants to wear it, it's not in his drawer.
Right.
So, that's a problem. And by he, I mean, what if I want him to wear it? This is the onesie. It's got big baby corgis all over it. We found it at Box Lunch, the Mall of America, here in Minnesota. They have the cutest things that are animal, just all the things. It's cute. Anyway, hey.
Hi! Welcome back!
Yay! We're here.
We're drinking some whiskey. It's not Canadian whiskey, even though it is Canada Day, right? Canada Day. It's sort of like our 4th of July, Independence Day, whatever. I thought about it, and then I realized I don't have any Canadian whiskey. Sorry, Canadians.
Sorry, Canadians. And Bobby let's just be clear, in the last 4 weeks, we've never started the show with what we're drinking. But Bobby, I think, did this on purpose because before we went on the air, I said that I was drinking rosé all day. So that's why I think that he wanted me to He wanted me to go there again. I've been drinking beer the last few weeks, but our keg ran out, and the beer that he got me, I drank. So I went to Target today because I wanted a beverage.
And it was okay.
Because we have a teething child home with us while we work all week. So I needed some rosé.
4 of them all at once.
4 teeth coming in, friends. One moment. So welcome to the show.
We're going to need some alcohol for this. Not only because teething baby, but because we're talking about Brovorces.
Okay, that's exclusive to you.
Well, or anyone else who's a man.
A man. If you ask adult, mature women what it is called when you break up with a friend as an adult, it's things like establishing healthy boundaries, getting rid of toxic people. There's no cutesy name for when women do it.
That's because it doesn't have a catchy name.
It doesn't.
If there was one, I'm sure that's what we would have called it.
We asked, on your Facebook page, and the responses were ridiculous, and they were, I was, kind of offended that, I'm really, guys?
Some of them were I don't know.
Not great. So, we're going to talk about Brovorces and establishing healthy boundaries as an adult.
Yes. Ending friend relationships.
Friendships as an adult.
As an adult, yes.
Yep. So, Brovorces, take it away.
Okay, before we get started, I do want to mention that this story involves people that I am still friends with. I did talk to one friend in particular, and they told me that it was okay to tell this story in limited detail. I won't go into too much of the details about I won't go into too many details because it involves somebody that we know's personal life and a lot of dirty laundry, and so we're just not going to go there.
Because we're establishing healthy boundaries. Also, neither one of us are professionals in the mental health field. This is purely about our experience going through challenging things as adults and how it's affected our marriage, if it has at all. So, this is not professional advice time. This is just...
And how we've supported each... No, none of this is professional advice. Let's be real, right?
This is just us just chatting.
So...
So you're
if anyone else has been through a Brovorce, or whatever you want to call it, if you are not a man or don't identify as a man, that's cool. Let us know in the chat and we can maybe talk about that. So I guess my experience with that was... how long ago was that now? She's
honestly,
way better with dates.
No, legit, people, I don't remember how many years it's been. I think... Okay, I'm going to process this out loud. So... Our friends, my best friend and her husband, met the year we got Nemo, which was 2009. Like, their first date was the day we got Nemo. That's how I remember how long they've been together, because it's the same day that we got Nemo. And I think it was the year after that when we started hanging out with their friends. So I think it was about 10 years ago that this happened.
Okay, so about 10 years ago, I experienced the end of a very long relationship with a person who I've known, or had known at the time, since, 92 when I moved here? Yeah.
Is that when you moved here?
Yeah, I moved to Minnesota in 92 because it was the year after the big snowstorm of 91.
He's not a real Minnesotan because he wasn't here for the blizzard of 91.
It's true, I'm not. I
It's
wasn't.
a transplant.
I still say duck, duck, goose.
Okay, that's a different show. Go ahead, talk about your Brovorce.
So, I had known my best friend at the time since 1992. I moved here when I was 8, and this all occurred about 10 years ago. So,
The Brovorce.
18 years?
That sounds right.
18 years.
Mm-hmm.
This is somebody that lived across the street from me, and so we hung out all the time. You guys may remember us 2 weeks ago talking about grief and loss.
Mm-hmm.
And that I have a tattoo on my back for my friend's sister who died. That would be that friend.
Mm-hmm.
So his sister is the one that passed away when I was 15. And so, to me, like having been friends for that long and been through all sorts of things like that, including burying his sister, right? That to me, like, that ran deeper than blood. Than any blood really could, right? So just to give you kind of some idea, we were each other's best men, right? That's the way to phrase it.
I never know how to say that. You were the best man
Yes.
in each other's
Hi,
weddings.
Miss Mary Berry. How are you?
Yes, you were the best man in each other's weddings.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And so we've been through a lot together. Like I said, weddings, deaths, all sorts of things.
Death of sister, death of your dad.
Yeah, my dad. Yep, that was another one
Sort
that he
of.
was around
That's a different
for.
story.
Sort of. Yes, that's a whole other story.
Might come up.
And again, because this is somebody who I don't. We're not friends anymore. We're not friends on Facebook, whatever. But we still have some mutual connections. I won't go into my personal theories of deep-seated psychological issues. Well, we'll skip that. That's all speculation anyway, right? So it's not really fair to talk about somebody like that when they can't defend themselves. So, at any rate, as the story goes, this was a couple of years. What I'm about to talk about, it was a couple of years before the actual Brovorce occurred.
Oh, it was more than that. It was like 7 years.
No, I don't think it was that long.
Because it was before. It was when not long after we started dating.
Okay.
Which was 2003. So it was like.
And I know I still lived at my mom's house.
So it was like 5-6 years before the Brovorce happened. Yeah.
So this was a long period of time. Mm-hmm. One day he invites me to lunch, which fine, whatever. We go to lunch all the time, not a big deal.
No, it was a big deal. I remember this because we were sitting in the cafeteria at Winona State, and you get a phone call saying, "Are you coming home for the long weekend? I need to see you." It was like an emergency.
That's right.
It was like an emergency lunch, and I'm like, "What the heck?" Woo. And yes. Yeah, anyway, sorry.
So, we go to lunch, and we're sitting there, and he tells me this really deep, dark, terrible secret. And it happens to involve one of our other friends.
Which is why that's all we're saying.
And I am asked at that point never to tell this person. And the only other person that knows about this is his mom. That's it. And so this went on for
long time.
4 years maybe before it's and before things kind of slowly started to come out about whatever this secret happens to be.
Oh, yes. You're right. I'm like, what? Right.
Yeah, and so it wasn't me or anyone else saying anything. It was the other person involved finding out.
And then in their own way indicating to me that they knew about this secret. Which is, yeah, so I was like, oh. Okay.
So that and that even created like a real awkward tension of this, like, well, that person kind of knows about this secret that you and I know about. You don't, my best friend at the time never knew that you knew.
And you told me, thank you, Miss Mayberry.
Miss Maryberry, thank you for the
song. Mayberry? I don't know why I just read that. Mayberry.
Mayberry. She's from Mayberry.
Sorry. Well, we went out one night, I think it was for your birthday, and you drank a lot.
I did.
And this was really weighing you down that particular night. Oh, you changed your name?
Oh, you changed your name.
What?
Oh.
Hey, girl. Okay, so anyway, you drank a lot, and for whatever reason, that particular night, the secret was really weighing on you a lot. And we get home, and you're just so upset. Oh, don't apologize. You're fine, Meredith. You're really upset, and like you want to tell me, but you can't, and you're blah, blah, blah. Anyway, eventually,
I did. I told you.
You did tell me. I think I might have guessed. Like, I think it was like this 20 question situation.
It very much was.
Because you didn't want to tell me, but you wanted me to know because you wanted someone else to know, especially the person you trust most in your life.
Right.
Right. So then, like, as the next couple of years go on.
And literally, this went on for years after the fact that I was told this. Hi, Sidwee. How are you?
Yes. So, more people find out. We realize that the person that's directly involved in this also knows.
We're talking about Brovorces, ending adult friendships.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, this person tells Sarah that
they know
about
sort of
this
like
other
they ask
secret
me in this they ask me some questions that are very like they know.
We're on the big TV.
This is not a great night for that, said we. So, this is not my best night. Okay, so we find out that more people know about this.
Well, so at this point, as far as I know, it's just my best friend and I, Sarah, and the other person involved.
And the mom.
As far as I know, yeah, that's the only person, the people that know.
Sure.
And then it all kind of came to a head one night. We were all at a cabin, our group of friends. So it was probably 7 or 8 people or couples, right?
It was about like 10 people.
Yeah,
total.
like 10 people total or so. And it all kind of came to a head where all of a sudden I find out that this other person knows about this secret, and I can't say what it is, and it's killing me, but I'm gonna respect that person's privacy.
Yeah, no, we're leaving it.
But it's something that goes against my core values as a person.
Mm-hmm. And you held on to it for like 5 years.
And it's something that I had to hold on to for, at this point, 6 years, something like that.
5 something.
Yeah, and so it was all of a sudden this big like breakdown relief. I mean, I say relief, but it wasn't, right? Because all of a sudden I knew that my other friend knew about this horrible thing. And I felt horrible, right? Like I felt like I'm guilty in that for not having said anything, and for that, not only betraying my other friend, but betraying the other friend who told me not to say anything.
The best friend.
Yeah, and myself, right? My own values. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so that was really kind of the turning point for all this.
And that whole time we had been up there, leading up to this particular ending, there had been a lot of like low blow jabs towards me over time, over years.
Sorry.
Yeah, just lots of kind of blatant disrespect.
At one point, everybody was drunk at New Year's, and he called you a bitch.
I was wondering if we were going to talk about that at all, and I was going to like not mention the specific event we were at.
Yeah.
But you just did. It was yes, because this person had.
I mean, we're not going to go into speculation about
No.
deep-seated psychological
No, I'm talking
issues,
about.
but-
This is flat out what happened.
Sure.
In the best man's speech, I don't remember the whole thing, obviously, but it was like something about, I'm so glad that you found someone to share your life with, as opposed to like, I'm so glad that you found Sarah, or like, I'm so, you guys are perfect together. Sorry, our video is like real laggy. Sorry if that's happening on your end, but we're noticing like lots of, like my hand movements are really weird. Sorry. So anyway, we got married on December 29th of 2007. And so a couple days later, we got together to celebrate New Year's. And it was like, Sarah, wasn't my speech great? And I said, no, it wasn't. Which I have never been that blunt with this person before in my life, leading up to that point. And so, whatever, that kind of like flew, honey.
Oh. Sorry, I had my little antivirus thingy pop up saying, your subscription is expired.
So anyway, I don't remember the exact like lead up to this, but at one point he says something not so nice to his wife, and we're like, whoa, and then it's like, sorry, you're not a bitch, Sarah's a bitch. And then it was like, oh,
I almost punched him.
Yeah. He's like, no, not cool, dude, no way, no. Bobby was like, no, you're not, no. Because, and this is my understanding, is he was upset, and looking back on it as a mature adult, I understand that he felt that he worked really hard on this speech, and he was really nervous about speaking in front of people, and it hurt him that I was like, no, your speech was not good. I didn't like it. So, and I never explained why. Had I explained why, maybe that would have been a different outcome. I don't know.
Maybe.
But in the moment, I was so just like, I was coming down from the high of like exhaustion from planning a wedding, and this is like 3 years before the Brovorce. That's kind of what started it. And that was just kind of like low blows, and it comes out later that when Bobby's dad was really sick and like we didn't change our wedding date, that this person was saying things like, oh, it's obviously because Sarah didn't want to change her wedding date. Sarah's so selfish. And I'm like, no, we asked the family.
Which, P.S., if you weren't watching when we talked about this, we talked to my mom, and my mom said, no,
yeah,
keep it.
And then his dad passed away the day before we closed on our townhouse, and later comes out that this person was like, of course, Sarah couldn't possibly put off something as, simple as closing on a house so that they could,
Again,
like,
talk to mom.
Mom was like, no, close on your house, move, and then spend time with the family once you're all settled in. like, basically making me out to be this terrible, terrible person. So over the next 2.5, 3 years, just a lot of low blows, jabs, like just disrespectful, passive aggressive stuff towards me.
It's because we're Minnesotans.
Yeah, but it was like,
no, but
nice.
it really was.
It was just
like
not
spiteful
nice
kind of stuff.
Right. So we're at this weekend. This was another weekend of not respectful behavior towards me. Not just from this person, from a couple other people as well. And I think all of this was just this big buildup. Now, I found you in a garage talking with another friend and just really, really upset and wanting to leave.
From Canada.
No.
Happy Canada Day, Joel, if you're watching.
No. I'm sorry. I was at the fire. I was at the bonfire with Nemo.
Okay, hold on. Let me clarify for a second.
Let's
because,
go back.
So the cabin event that we talked about a minute ago was a separate cabin event from what we're talking about now. So
I didn't know that. Sorry.
The cabin event where this all kind of broke down and came out, the four of us all kind of knew this secret, was a different cabin event, and it went on. The friendship went on
past
for.
This.
Maybe a year or two after that. So this is a year or two down the road.
Sure.
Where we're at a different cabin event.
Right. Sorry, I thought we were already down there. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on the story. I'm sorry, continue.
So
from that first cabin event.
There's a lot of alcohol involved in this cabin event. There was one point I got into a physical altercation with a friend just because tensions were very high. And I apologize to the friend. It was entirely my fault.
So wait.
What?
Is this the final cabin event?
Yes, we're talking about the final cabin event, yes.
Right, so I'm at the fire pit. Now we're at the fire pit with my dog.
Yes.
And I just hear screaming and get out and just screaming, and I don't realize that Bobby's part of this, and like they are like nose to nose about to go at it. And I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Now, let me just also mention that this was this particular cabin weekend. We had brought another couple friend of ours with us who was getting to know this group of friends. Like, a friend of mine from high school, like, met these folks throughout the planning of our wedding and moving forward, and got along very well. And they came, this is their first cabin weekend, and there's just shit hitting the fan everywhere. And I'm like, oh god, this is not the great weekend.
It was a shit show.
It was bad.
So yeah, he and I almost have a physical altercation.
Then you go out to the garage.
And then
after that,
we're out at the garage because at this point, I'm debating, well, what do I do?
It is about 10:30, 11 at night in the north where there's lots of deer. So he's wanting to leave immediately.
And our friend from Canada comes in and he's trying to mediate between us and talk me down and those sorts of things.
And I am sober. I am probably the only one one of two people who is like straight up sober. AKA the only one capable of driving. But I'm so afraid of driving in the dark, in the middle of nowhere, where there's deer all over the place. So I'm trying to convince him, so are our other friends, to wait till the morning. Let's just go to sleep. We'll leave first thing in the morning. We don't even have to see anybody. We can pack up tonight, wake up, and leave in the morning when the sun comes up. And he is like, no, we gotta go now. I wanna leave right now. I wanna go right now. And he got his way. And we left, and I drove. My friend that I brought with me had a couple of drinks and wasn't feeling...
Right or wrong, probably wrong. I honestly, in the moment, also being drunk, didn't physically feel safe.
Sure. Well, there was that too. Sure. The emotions became really high for everybody. I mean, I felt very badly for the people who were there that were really innocent bystanders. And who I'm just like, I'm sorry. Like, I was walking out the door mouthing, I'm sorry to them.
Part of the issue, and to this day, I don't know how many of those people know about what happened. About this big secret.
Yeah.
So, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, right? Because this is kind of just backstory, right? The thing that where she and I come into play is... One, the whole, defending your partner, right? Like, this is the person I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. An 18-year friendship, sorry, this is way off camera. A friendship of 18 years ultimately is not as important, right? So that's part of it. But the other part is
and actually, I want to interrupt. I want to Zach Morris this. I never ever once that I can remember said I want you to end that friendship. I never asked him to end the friendship. I only ever asked him to defend me if he was disrespectful towards me, or if he was just making comments or anything. Like, I only ever asked that he stood up for me. I never said you need to be done with him. I want to be clear about that because I'm sure at some point that got twisted too.
Right. There was never any pressure, and I think that's an important thing to talk about too, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it wasn't coming from you.
And actually after this whole thing happened, I think leading up to this event, for a long time I had said, like, is it worth not being friends with him anymore? Like, because it was almost 2 decades that I was like, are you sure this is you sure you don't want to reach out? Are you sure you don't want to try and fix this? Are you sure? Like, after the fact. Because it's a long time. And it's... And a lot of history, just in general. I mean, I have friends with a lot of history. Now I have friends that I've been friends with for almost 2 decades, which is weird.
So, Meredith, is it little things, or is it like serious, like I really don't like him kinds of things?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because with this friend, it was like little jabs about like my personality and like, I don't know. I don't remember all of it because, quite frankly, that's a. It
was just all these little things.
Jabs.
Yeah, it was just all these little things over time that kind of built up.
Yeah, and again, I have my own beliefs as to why that happened, but I am not a professional. I'm not going to make assumptions about this person. I'm not going to. I mean, I do, but I'm not going to publicly live on the internet make assumptions about this person, because this person is like 6 separations still in my life, oddly, through work. So I'm
6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
6 degrees. That's what it is.
You meant. 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
6 degrees.
Yes.
Through work. So, yeah, it's interesting. But anyway, so after this all happens, we get home, we go to bed. Even for a couple of days, it's like really heightened. We don't really talk about it. Because I wanted to give him time to process what had just happened, and also to kind of think, like, is this it? Do I want to reach out to him? Do I want to attempt to fix this?
Ultimately, the decision was no. I'm not going to fix this. It is what it is.
Because you felt badly about how it went down. You felt badly.
I did. No, I did absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes.
Even
like right in that moment, not years later. In that moment.
But the thing is very shortly after, it felt like a weight off of my shoulders.
Isn't that interesting how that happens? Because I have a similar situation that does not take as much backstory.
So there's a couple of things we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
If there's time, is one that you have a similar situation. K-Riv 12, thank you for that. The other thing that we want to talk about too is how that affected us and primarily me and Sarah supporting me through this, right? Because this was an 18-year friendship. Not only was it an 18-year friendship,
it was like a brother.
But it affected, well, it was somebody who basically was a brother, but also it affected
was keeping the secret against your core values, or was the actual secret against your core values?
No, the actual secret itself. The thing that I was told not to tell this other friend was something that's very much against like my core values.
Okay, can we stop for a second? We need to move over. It's bothering me that we're like off center on the camera. Hold on. Hold, friends. Readjusting. It's so bothering me. I'm sorry. And if any of my other like alignment friends out there, if it's been bothering you this whole time, it's fixed. You're welcome.
So, yes, Meredith, to answer your question, the thing that I was told not to say anything about was very, very much against like who I am and things that I believe in.
And me as well.
That said, this was 7 or 8, maybe more other friends that I was no longer friends with.
You had been friends with for almost 2 decades. If
you talk about like friends breaking up, or when couples actually get divorced, you talk about who do you take in the divorce, right? Yeah. P.S. Friends, we've talked about this behind your backs. We're not going to tell you who, but we have definitely talked about it.
And don't ask, because we're not going to tell you on the internet or in private. Telling you.
But if you want to tell us who you're taking in the divorce, feel free.
No! Only if it's me. I have a sensitive soul. Nice.
Anyway, it was at the time, other than to this friend who was also involved, I was the bad guy. I was the one in the wrong.
Oh, Meredith, that's a great question. The question is, who will have the dogs? Here's our hard and fast rule about the dogs.
Yes, we have rules about this, yes.
We've talked about this. Because we also have a list of, like, automatic, which we'll talk about on another show.
That's a different topic.
About how love is actually conditional.
Love is not unconditional.
It is
folks.
not. Stop. I hate double negatives. Ugh, as a sign language interpreter, it makes my skin crawl. Please stop. Whichever one of us is the offender does not get the dogs.
So, like, if one of us cheats, or if one of us... I'm just trying to think of, like, some of our other conditions. Gets a boob tattoo.
Stop. We can't expand on... This is not the topic. Stop. So, if he cheated on me, I get the dogs.
If you get a boob tattoo, I get the dogs.
Which is a different show. Although, like, this came up more so when we only had Nemo. Now, I'm not saying I'm just going to give up Chewy. That's not what I'm saying. But Chewy is more your dog than my dog.
Chewy, did you hear that?
He's behind.
Did you hear that?
We'll talk about that on the next, on the Conditional Love show, Meredith. So, you lost a large group of friends.
Yeah, I lost... I mean, and this is my primary, group of friends that I've had for...
Years.
15, 16, 17, some of them 17 years, right?
Yep.
And at that point, I didn't have a whole lot of other friends.
No.
And so part of what we wanted to talk about
Casual acquaintances, but not like hang out. Yeah.
Part of what we wanted to talk about this was, us supporting me through this. Because, and even like, quite honestly, to this day, I don't have somebody to go, that's my best friend. I hang out with that guy all the time. And, we go do all this crazy stuff together. I don't. I have friends that I'm the closest to, but that's,
And we talk about that a lot, like kind of jokingly, but also kind of serious, because we have talked about doing a vow renewal. And I asked it. We kind of talked about, like, if we were to do a wedding party, which we probably wouldn't at this point. We would just do the two of us and Lucas thing. But, like, who would be your best man? Because 3 out of the 5 groomsmen, well, the best man and 2 of the groomsmen, we don't, you don't hang out with.
One of them was your brother.
Well, one of them was my...
The other one... Well, no, I'm just saying...
Of the ones we talked to.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the one of them was your brother. One of them is my roommate from college who lives in Chicago, who I love the two of them, but we rarely talk.
Yeah, but we're still in our lives in a positive way, so they would probably still be included in some... Or, like... Whatever, my brother for sure, right? But the other 3 are in this group. And one of them, I think, honestly, was like kind of a bystander.
Okay,
and kind of
hang on.
had to choose.
I need to talk about. I need to interrupt for a second because we've got 2 different things going on in chat here. Sidney is saying, "I don't think it's so normal to have best friends. I think it's unusual." And then right below it, Meredith is saying, "I have 3 best friends." So.
Sure.
So, I guess, Sidney, I'm curious. Why do you find that that's unusual? And also, Meredith, how do you have 3 best friends? You can only have one best friend, logically speaking.
We've talked... You know why I have more than one
And I still disagree.
I call them my persons. And I have more than one person.
I get that you have more than one person that you feel comfortable going to for...
No, my person. Like, the person that you, like, when... Good... Is that outside or is that our kid?
That's outside.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Children making noises. Think you have good friends. No, I mean, I have 3 to 4 people in my life that are, like, the people that I want to tell things first. That I want to celebrate with first. Who knew that I was pregnant. I have one person, who, like... one person who, like, I wanted to tell the second I took that pregnancy test, but I knew I had to, at the very least, tell my mom and his mom first before I could tell her.
Me?
The
pregnancy test?
What, you?
That you should tell me first?
Well, okay, outside of you, duh.
Okay.
Like, you're a given. You're the dad, yo. Like, I mean, like, outside of the 2 of us, before, like, telling other people, I have one friend who I was just like, I want to tell right this second. And then I have 2 other friends that are, like, my people as well. So, yes.
That's a good question. What makes you call someone a best friend versus a good friend? And 10 years ago, I would have said that it's part of time. It's part of the experiences that you've been through.
It's just like the bond you have with them. Like, like my top person, we've been through a lot of shit together, like a lot. And even in our own friendship, we've been through a lot together, and we've come out the other side of some pretty tough times. Yeah.
And I don't know that I necessarily have that same bondedness that I had with this other person.
Right.
To anyone that I have now. So
Right.
yes, I have very good friends. I have lots of very good friends in my life. And in fact, that's one of the good things that came out of all of this, is that I have a bunch of other groups of friends now that I probably never would have known had this never happened.
So anyway, I think that honestly we could debate all night the definitions of best friend, great friend, good friend, top friend, acquaintance. We could debate this all night, right? Because everyone.
Let's do it.
No, because everyone has.
You know
their
I'm
own,
argumentative. Let's go.
because everyone has their own idea what that means, and it
Sure.
means something different for everybody. Like, and everyone needs a
You're
different
right.
level of friend.
Because some people have 3 of them, apparently.
Yeah.
Oh, I was talking about Meredith, but also you. Sure.
Yeah. Duh. Hey, girls. Anyway. They know who they are.
But, I guess and maybe this was Sydney's point, was that if I'm defining it by the experiences that we've shared, by the length of time, by the things that we've navigated together and grown together, right? You're right. It's possible that more than one person has shared all of those experiences, like Meredith's group of friends.
And I would say that my top best friend, I can say stuff about how I'm feeling and express that I'm confused about feeling a certain way, and she knows me well enough where she can make it make sense to me, because she can see it from the outside, where that kind of stuff, yeah, just knows me really just knows me better than I know myself sometimes. We had this joke once where I said something about, I made a comment or I post something at our anniversary or whatever about marrying my best friend, can't wait to marry my best friend or something, and she's like, oh, we're getting married, she so I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess
maybe best friend is someone that equates with family. Yeah,
100%.
I would agree with you.
She has spent holidays with us before.
But again, against my own definition,
Mm-hmm.
right, of having only one best friend, right, you can have more than one friend that's like family to you.
Absolutely. And we do. Or I do. I don't know. Anyway, so let's get to that, because you're talking about you lost this group of friends.
Yes. So this was the core 15 people that I hung out.
And these people,
all the time.
These friends, back when your parents had their big Christmas Day party, these were the friends who were invited. These were the friends who came to your family holiday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
these were people that lived in the neighborhood, people that I went to high school with, and their friends and extensions from there, right? And so, in particular, it was hard when we moved, 35 miles north of there.
Which we chose.
Which was fine, because we did that, years before all of this stuff went down.
Oh, yeah.
And we still saw those people. But now, we're 35 miles away from all these other people. I'm the bad guy in everyone's mind, except for the one other person who's involved in this. And
I wouldn't say that. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair based on conversations I've had with those people. I don't think you were seen that way by everybody.
Okay.
I think that it was more of a pain in the butt to get together if they had to come up to our place. I think they just kind of were all like, well, you should just come down here because we're all down here. But it wasn't like, you're a terrible person for moving away.
No. After the cabin.
Oh.
After the cabin, I was the bad guy.
You were, yes. I think they felt very stuck.
And so, going back to who
Yes.
takes the friends in the divorce, I was clearly not the friend that everyone took in the divorce.
They all took him
In the
for
Brovorce.
various reasons, but several of them stayed in touch with us and invited us to their weddings, which was kind of interesting.
And funerals of parents and things like that.
Well, they didn't invite us; we just went.
Well, yeah,
Right.
we weren't invited.
We don't invite you to a funeral; you just go.
But anyway,
Right.
it became this kind of real awkward situation for me, because I'm on the internet talking to people about my personal life. I'm on the internet like talking about beer. I'm on the internet playing video games and Dungeons and Dragons. I'm kind of an extrovert. I need to be around people.
That was really hard for you. And it was really hard because I was like, oh, but you have these people. And he's like, yeah, those are all your friends' husbands or your friends' partners. They're not my friends. They're partners of your friends. And I'm like, oh, you're right.
Side note, if I am going to give a bit of advice, that is one thing that I, on a personal level, have noticed that's consistent about all of our friends who are in healthy, strong relationships, is that their spouses are all friends together, right? Your coworkers are still your friends, but I'm friends with all of them too. I would consider most of those people friends.
Right, when we all get together with our spouses, it is the best time ever. And they all get along.
And, you know, I've seen, and I'm sure...
And we run a gamut of ages, too, which is my favorite part of all of it. Yeah.
And I'm sure people out there have experienced this. They have that couple where their partner or you are only friends with that one person and they're not friends with your partner or your spouse or whatever. And, like, it's kind of awkward and weird.
Yeah, I am really thankful that the people that we hang out with now... Well, let's get to that. Let's back up the story a little. Let's continue on with the story.
Yeah. So that's my bit of advice. If you're gonna try and be in a relationship, be friends with your partner's friends.
Yeah,
or
that's important.
At least make a strong effort.
Because when you hang out, it's no fun. Because I don't know that I ever, honest to God.
What's going on, Bruce? How you doing?
I appreciated and respected the people in that group, especially afterwards, because a couple of them reached out to me after this all happened, and I really didn't expect it, and I really appreciated it. But what was I gonna say? Oh, but I don't know that I ever truly felt 100% comfortable hanging out in that group of people. Like the whole time we were friends, they weren't my people.
I would say the one person involved in the other end of the secret was.
Yes, we had a separate, different relationship. Yes, and
but
we're still friends. Yeah.
But that was it. Of the 15 people involved in this story up until now.
Right.
That was it.
I didn't really ever feel 100% welcomed and accepted, and
right, and I don't think that was for your lack of trying. It wasn't like you came to things and you sat in the corner on your phone, or like you weren't trying to interact.
Maybe by the other partners, because we were all kind of like, oh, we're brought into this group. So then, about a year later, Bobby struggles with this for a while. You know, we still hang out with people, but again, they're my friends and their partners.
While I would consider all these people friends, they weren't people. What's going on, dude? That's James, P.S.
James Brandt?
Yeah.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I should say your last name, man. Hi.
What's going on, CCG?
Hi.
She's from Minnesota originally. She's not here anymore, but...
Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, so... Yeah,
so then...
I wouldn't have ever called...
I should have said James and Cheese.
His address is... I would never have called any of those people. Now, there's one guy from that group, from your group of coworkers, that I totally would just call and hang out with now.
No. This was before that, though. I'm talking about before we met the bar church group. I'm talking about that weird space of time we were hanging out with my friends and their spouses.
Right.
So then, about a year after all this, so my best friend and her husband have been together now for a year. I think at this point they're engaged. And she started hanging out with his friends, and they had this established...
She hung out with his friends. Again, get to be friends with your spouse's friends or your partner's friends.
And they had this group of friends that were friends outside of their weekly gatherings, but every week got together, and they called themselves Bar Church. Now, the name is seated... It originated for, actual, church reasons. I think he's going to try and fix her internet because it's laggy again. But then it just turned into fellowship, friends, late night happy hour.
That's basically all it was.
And
we got together at a restaurant and drank and ate and hung out.
She knew that you were struggling with not having this established group of friends that you felt you connected with.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's like, come to bar church. Come to bar church. And I'm like, well, Bobby's not religious. And she's like, it doesn't matter. We don't talk about Jesus. Like,
Thanks,
come to bar church, And so we did. And we liked her husband. Like, we already had met her husband and hung out with them several times. And so we started joining their group for their weekly gatherings. And this is when Flame was still at Rosedale. So this was a while ago.
I know what's going on. They keep talking.
And
my camera.
And so we started joining them, and turns out we found a group of friends that were half introvert, half extrovert. So it was like the perfect group for us to join because we are introvert, extrovert. It was mostly the husbands who were extroverts, so it worked out really well.
All right, thanks for hanging out with us, Sydney.
So
enjoy your dinner.
We hit it off real quick, I think. Because then we were like, yeah, we'll come back next week. Yeah, and keep inviting us. And we hit it off, and it was a mixture of friends of the husband's from college, family, just a range of people that he knew from his life. People that we are still friends with today. We just
had a virtual
about a month ago. We had a Zoom game night with them because we're all over the place, and also
COVID.
But mostly because we're not all in the metro anymore. But and we're still friends to this day. And we don't start our outings at 9 p.m. anymore. That's for dang sure. And we all have kids now, so that's a little bit more. That's also more challenging. But we try to make an effort to get together either as adults or with all the kids a couple times a year, if we can, because we do very much enjoy hanging out with each other. So it was nice but we were able, and we didn't split the group up into husbands and wives because we were sharing food with our with our partners, but you hit it off with them, and we hung out with them for weekly for years until we started having kids, and then it got more challenging to do the late night stuff.
Yeah.
And then Flame closed, and that was disappointing. But then we did Granite City for a while and Old Chicago, and life, kids, demands.
Yeah. But I think that was kind of the first step in finding a new group of friends to hang out with, and that was tough for me. And thank you, dude. Appreciate that. And that was really tough for me because you had all these friends that already established, and again, I didn't have anyone that was like, "Hey, I'm gonna call so and so,
bro."
Yeah, I'm gonna call whoever and go hang out with them on my own without you.
Right.
Despite being friends with all these new people, so that was tough.
But then you...
Can I tell my story? No, I'm kidding.
Yes, you can.
No,
sorry. I get really excited about these things.
You're way better with timelines than I am, remembering when the hell things happen, so go ahead.
All I'm going to say is you started grad school and you started working at White Bear Lake Mitsubishi. And then this happened. Go ahead.
You introduced people to the Church of Latter-day Saints. I love it.
Oh, love it. Okay, so then you started working at a car dealership.
If anyone is not drinking the juice of the Church of Latter-day Saints, you need to try it.
Go ahead.
Yes. So then I started a new career in the car industry, and I've always been kind of a car nerd. Ever since my dad was a big car guy. He would lease cars every, I don't know, what a typical lease is a 36-month lease.
Oh,
he was the kind of guy, and to this day, I am very much that guy who will get out of my lease at least a year early. P.S. I have about 6 months on that before my 2-year period is, or my 2.5-year period's up. Or I'm probably going to try and get out of it earlier than my actual lease. So I've been in and out of car dealerships my whole life. And at this point now I work in one, and it's my opportunity to do one of the things that I love. And that's cars. And so I start driving around cars and I get connected with the car world. And as much as I don't want to compare it to the Fast and the Furious, for people that aren't familiar with car world, that's the best I can tell you. Is Minnesota like California, where you've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cars street racing and doing all this crazy nonsense? And no, it's not. That said, yeah, there are nights where there are 150, 200 cars driving around Minneapolis, St. Paul doing that kind of stuff. Not that I'm advocating illegal activity on the internet. Don't do that.
No.
I'm just saying that it goes on. That's all.
It's bad. So you meet these friends.
Yeah. So I meet a lot of friends through the car community. And
Which I don't understand. The car, I don't get the car world. I'm not a car person. Like, I like my car. But, like, that's not my thing, which is fine.
One of whom is hanging out in here, even though we doxed him earlier. Sorry. But yeah, and so I have a lot of friends from the car world now. Hell, if you look at my Facebook page, I bet you 70% of the people on my Facebook page I'm friends with because of cars.
Yeah. So, like, we started going on car cruises and stuff and going to car events, and I started meeting some of your friends, and at first I felt really out of place. But looking back, like, in hindsight, that's okay, because this wasn't about me. This is about you, like, connecting with people.
And you were very good about just saying, "Yep, go ahead and go do that stuff."
Yeah, I'm good. But
well, not only because you didn't care, but also because
I knew that you needed it.
You knew that I needed to go do those things to meet new people to hang out with.
100%.
Because I didn't have that group.
Right, and then I came to a couple of events and went on some cruises and got to know the partners of the guys that you were getting to know and stuff, and started hitting it off with them. And so I was coming to more events and more gatherings and things because...
And eventually that group broke off and we just kind of hung out together and...
Yeah. And they were, like... They were the people that got me through your accident. For sure. They were the ones
We'll talk about that at some later point.
Yeah, they were the ones that...
I almost died.
Yeah. They were the ones I called when you got in your accident. And, yeah, I mean, so they became a really big part of our life. And so that group did break off into smaller groups and we, whatever. And
I still game with some of those guys.
Yeah. And we still, like, see them at here and there at things and are still very important to us.
So, oddly, though, one of the people that I met through cars is the brother of a person that we're very close to right now.
That we're, like, super close, yeah. That we see out, that we're, like...
So one day, I'm sitting on the internet. This is back in it, folks, before Facebook. Back in my day, we had these things called forums. They're better than Facebook groups because you can search for things and you don't get people posting the same fucking thing 17 times a day, and you can just go, oh, there's the topic I'm looking for. Click. There's the information.
Sorry, I know someone's already posted about this, but does anyone have a recommendation for a flooring guy? That's true.
You can.
Okay, so anyway, sorry. So you become friends with this brother.
He puts it out there and says, hey, having a barbecue over at my place, come on over, whatever. Just an open invite to people on this car forum.
Which is like the scariest thing to me. These open invites. I'm like, we're never doing that. Go ahead.
So I go.
Never did.
And he and I become friends, and and there's a couple of people there that I already know. So everything's fine. It turns out, like, maybe a year later or so, this person's brother comes into my dealership and ends up buying a car from our dealership. Not from me, I didn't know him at the time. But when we sold the car, you go to the log and you write down who you sold the car to, what you sold, whatever, right? So that we can keep track of it. I look at this log and I go...
That's not a last name you see every day.
That's an unusual last name. I wonder if that's related to my friend. I immediately call my friend. hey, is your brother Justin? Yeah, that's my brother. So that was, and so he and I, after that, we started like hanging out because I talked to him at the dealership and we just started chatting, and that was kind of how that went. And now
then we went to a car thing at Sonic, and he brought his wife one week, and her and I just sat and ate ice cream for like 2 hours and realized that we are very alike. And became very good friends.
Ghost Floof, I think you can change if you click on the settings. Ghost Floof,
yes.
you think you can change the resolution down to like 720 or lower.
Yes, James. As annoyed as I would get at those Sonic events, I have a lot of good memories at Sonic as well. Lots of good times there, eating ice cream. But yes, so like then we kind of started hanging out more with them, and that became like they were your people first, and I got to know them and their partners, and we were able to both hang out with them as a large group, which was really important. And so then through this group of car people, some of these car friends turned into beer friends, which are now a lot of the people that we hang out with.
Yes.
Which is so bizarre.
Also, this group of cars, or this group of car people, the old DSMs, if any car people are out there, you know what a DSM is, good on you. The old DSM crew, turns out a lot of them are really into craft beer and bourbon.
Boop, boop.
And so now we have this whole separate group of friends that we hang out with, and again, here's going back to the advice from earlier, get to being friends with your significant other's friends. Now you have all of the women from this group have their whole separate like Facebook chat that none of the guys are in, and
they were all invited to my bridal shower. Ooh.
Nice.
We have our own wives. They're not all wives, but wives Facebook chat. They all came to my baby shower. I think I said bridal, but I meant baby.
Baby, yeah. That's a few years ago.
Yeah, more ago. But they came to my baby shower. It's amazing to me how friendships and who you want to hang out with, what's important to you, changes over your life. I mean, I'm not far from 40. I'll be 38 in August, and I look back at the friendship. I mean, it's almost 9 o'clock, so I want to I gotta go to bed at some point. I ended a long friendship that started when you were in college.
Mm-hmm.
Although if you ask this person, they would say they ended it, so whatever. And it was like, I don't know, I think we were friends for like 10 years.
Remember, I ended it technically. Well,
okay, yeah, he did.
By modern internet day standards, I ended it.
You ended it. I
unfriended that person.
I mean, it's a long, for the most part, everything was fine in that friendship. And then little things started building up and building up and building up. And
oh boy, one of my old gaming friends is here, and Trogdor was my old gaming handle back in my World of Warcraft days.
Trogdor.
Yes.
Homestar Runner.
Homestar Runner.
There we go.
Two of them. Oh my god.
What?
Okay, I don't know who Fat Guy Streamer is, but hi.
Old gaming buddy.
Oh my god.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
They're coming out of the woodwork.
All right.
But this friend of mine that I met, oddly enough, through you, I think, technically, because she was dating one of your frat brothers.
Yes.
So I met through you, but oh my god. You have all these people.
Do we need to sing? No, we can't. I can't. That'll get me like DMCA'd. I can't sing the Trogdor song.
Sorry. But over the years, and then like around the time of your accident, things started getting like really rough, like tough for me to continue the friendship in the same place where it had been. Like I needed the friendship to evolve, and this person was not ready to evolve the friendship. And then some things were said. You can sing it on the chat, sure, right?
I mean, think you can. Yeah, I don't think they can DMCA chat. I just can't do it because they're like bots will hear it. I think is the issue.
Right, no bots. But I had to end the friendship after my miscarriage. It was like just some comments that were made that I think were well intentioned, but they were not the things to say to somebody who had just had a miscarriage. And I think like that, it was like all like these like things that had kind of added up, and it was just kind of that last like pebble in the jar. It was like, it
wasn't the healthiest relationship to begin with.
It wasn't.
It was almost mother-daughter.
It was mother. Yes, it was. It wasn't. It was not a give and take. No, I'm sorry. It was, but it wasn't. It was give and take. Like it wasn't back and forth. Anyway. So I, and for the first time ever in our friendship, I spoke up about how I felt. It was very strange, and we talked about this. It was 2 days after I had the miscarriage, after I went through the actual miscarriage process. And I remember, she had texted me the day after the miscarriage, the day that we announced it that we put it on Facebook that it had happened. And I didn't respond because I was getting tons of messages from people saying, I had a miscarriage too. I had a miscarriage too. I didn't know anyone else who had one. And then I was like, this is not important. This is not my priority right now. And then I wake up to a text that's very self-involved. And I just was like, this is not about you. Like, I just lost a child and you're acting like I'm ignoring you. Like you're in a time of need. And then it just kind of spiraled from there. And it was the first time I'd ever spoken up. And I remember waking up to her text, and I had this feeling of like calm wash over me, and like something inside of me just said, it's time.
And so this is something that, gun to your head, you would say your best friend had been trying to push you towards for a while.
She had. Yes.
And this is something that I had known about.
And let's be clear, pushing me towards it not in a I must be your only best friend way. Like pushing me towards it because she knew this relationship was not beneficial to me at all anymore.
It wasn't a healthy relationship, and she knew it, and she was not afraid to say that. Yes. It wasn't like, oh, you can't be friends with that person. It wasn't in that kind of a way.
Oddly enough, this person really had I feel strongly had some jealousy issues about the friendship between me and my best friend.
Correct.
Yes.
I had always known that not always known, but for probably a year or two, that the relationship was headed this direction, that it was kind of getting weird and unbalanced. Mm-hmm. I guess that's another thing too, right? Friendships need to be balanced, right? It can't just not just give and take, right? But it can't be where somebody is dependent on another friend. Like, that's unhealthy.
Yeah. There was quite an age difference too. Well, okay, let me say this. Now, no. Now, it wouldn't really matter. At the time when we were becoming really, really, really close friends, there was quite a life experience age difference between the two of us at that time. And again, like now that it was like 4 years.
Right.
But when you've been out in the working world for 4 years and that person's just getting out of college and trying to figure out what to do with their life, that's a pretty big difference. So what are you doing?
I was just pulling up something.
Okay. So anyway, I didn't necessarily like, technically in the text conversation, she said, I'm done. And I said, but I never said these things that you're accusing me of saying. I didn't say that I wanted our friendship to be done. I'm just saying I need you to be a little bit more respectful of what I'm going through right now. Never heard back from her. I continued to reach out in a way of inviting her to my housewarming party.
And this is where, for me, in my mind, it truly became like unhealthy for her to continue to hang on to this, and so this was my way. Hey guys, how you doing?
I like that name.
Waffle maple syrup, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So these are some local folks that I just met the other night.
Woohoo!
Met on the internet.
Nice.
Thank you for the follow. Appreciate that.
Yes, so I would continue to like her posts on Facebook.
We're coming up on the end of our discussion of the Brovorce here, ending adult relationships.
I sent her a happy birthday message on Facebook. Mine was the only message she didn't like. Out of all the happy birthday messages she got, mine was the only one she wouldn't like or comment on. I continued to like her stuff, and then kind of out of nowhere, so today on my Instagram and Facebook, I put a bunch of poll questions out about people ending adult relationships, and I don't want to go through all of them, but one of the things that I mentioned was, and we talked about too, was were you in a friendship where people had to choose between you and the friend that where you ended the friendship? Now, in Bobby's case, they didn't choose Bobby necessarily. So in my case, here's the thing about my case. I didn't put out my version of the story to a couple of my friends. I screenshot the conversation and sent them word for word what happened. I did not add any of my own commentary. It was word for word what happened. They made the choice to kind of back down from this friendship with the other person. But they maintained social media friends, commented, liked.
One of them even went to...
No. One of them, also a friend since college, hadn't really heard much from this person and was kind of waiting to see if she would get invited to the daughter's birthday party, and didn't. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this friend who's I'm no longer friends with, unfriended a bunch of people on Facebook that were mute. No, it was after you. No, I'm sorry. I'm jumping too far ahead.
At one point, and again, this is where I realized that you were spending a lot of time going, I wonder what that person is doing.
Yeah.
I wonder what ex-friend is up to.
I had a hard time letting go completely.
And so at one point,
it was a year later. It was exactly 1 year later.
I decided that that's the point where it became unhealthy for you.
Took my phone away from me.
And so I took your phone and I just unfriended.
Mm-hmm. And almost immediately, she unfriended other people that she assumed
were taking you in the divorce.
And they would have. I mean, ask them. They would have.
They would have.
But oddly enough, she's still Facebook friends with my mom, which I find very interesting. Maybe she doesn't care enough. I don't know.
Realize
or doesn't know.
It's not like your mom posts on Facebook very often.
No. And she was never, this friend was never a big social media person, so she never really,
So, in the official, it's Facebook official or whatever,
Bobby ended it. But technically, interesting. Technically, she stopped communicating with me. However, it's her way to, right.
Yeah. No, exactly. And that's why you kept checking in on her to be like, what's she doing? What's she,
Well, that's why
it's exactly that.
Yeah. And so what was I gonna say? Well, so in theory, she stopped communicating with me. But had I not said anything after her comments, and how she was trying to distract me and make me feel better about my miscarriage, I don't think it would have gone down that path. It wouldn't have. I never would have said anything. If I hadn't said anything in that moment, I never would, and we would still be friends, and I would be a very different person. And I, now, almost 3 years later, I'm really okay with the fact, yes, I am sad sometimes about when like memories come up on Facebook of things that we did together, because we had a lot of fun. I have a lot of good memories of her. I have a very...
We were both in their wedding.
I was her maid of honor, and you were not sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I have positive memories of her. I don't wish her any ill will. Neither of us do on either of the people. I don't have a negative feeling about her at all, other than, and she's a very good person. She just turned out to not really be the good friend that I needed.
Not a good friend.
Not the good friend that I needed.
Not that she's a bad person. She's not. She's just bad at being supportive when other people need it.
Yeah. Right. And it happened during your accident too, and I didn't say anything about it. And truthfully, I should have. But I didn't until until the miscarriage. And I think that crossed the line for me. That gave me a different perspective on things. I guess a almost dead.
You and I were in such a vulnerable place at that time that it was like, okay,
it's like,
bye.
I don't have time. It really, like, there are moments in everyone's life that make you realize I don't have time for people who can't be with me or be there for me and support me in these moments. And I think that she wanted to support me, but she just
doesn't know how.
Didn't know how. Maybe it was too adult. I don't know. I mean, I don't... Because, as I said last week, when it comes specifically to miscarriage and loss of a child, obviously you can't know what that's like until you've gone through it. And obviously people who go through it don't wish it on anybody. However, it does make it a lot easier to talk to somebody about it who's been through it. Double-edged sword. My other two best friends have not been through miscarriage, but they were fantastically supportive of me when I went through it in all the right ways. So you don't have to have gone through it to be supportive or know how to be supportive. So, anywhoozy woozy.
Really?
Yep. I know her. People can just not quite. Yeah, they can.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And it kind of faded away. And I've had friendships. We both have had friendships that just our lives went in different directions, and just kind of over time, you just kind of lose touch, and nothing really bad happened, and you just happens. That happens in everyone's life.
And that's a totally different situation. Yes. That's kind of one of those things where it's understandable.
Right.
So you met through work.
Super nice. Ended up being a bad friend. Still miss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people, yeah. I mean, some people are, and that's the other thing too, some people are good people, right? There's nothing wrong with them. They're not bad. They're just sometimes not good. They're not good at being a friend to some people.
And truthfully, I think the miscarriage, was the right time for that friendship to be done. Because some people are just meant to be in our life for a short season.
And I know that sounds stereotypical, but going kind of back to, well, some people aren't good at being friends, right? Sometimes they're not, and that's draining on you as a person, and you just need to be done with them.
Yeah.
For your own sake. Not for like, oh, well, I just don't like this person or whatever. It's that stress of, I want to be friends with this person. They're a nice person, but they're just not a very good friend. That's a stress constantly on you.
Right. Exactly. And I think when correct. It is very possible that now she is the person I needed her to be then. It is very possible. Now it's been almost 3 years. It's possible that she's grown a lot since then, and I hope so. But I mean, I'll never know, and that's okay.
Yeah, and we don't like wish ill will on these people. We hope everything's fine with these folks, right? Mm-hmm. But it's just we don't, and I hate to say need them, but they don't need to be a part of our lives anymore.
No, No. I think the miscarriage was probably the perfect time for that friendship to be over, because I was expending. I talked last week a lot about using this need to mother, this energy of needing to be a mom, and focusing it in other places. And for years, I was focusing it on this friend.
And this is that bad friend thing, because there was constantly this stress. And you and I talked about this on a regular basis. There was constantly this stress of, this person needs this from me. I'm trying to do this for, and it was just always one directional.
Yeah, and it's, now let me.
And again, this person's a good person.
We don't have a lot of remaining mutual friends. We don't. It's completely possible that someone that knows this friend is... Yes. And the person who said that is one of my 3 people. Some friendships exist for a time period in your life, while other friendships can weather the change in our lives. This is why we're still friends. For almost 17 years now.
Person decided they hated you, and then they passed around bad things about you. That's not good.
Ish. Yes. I just, it's possible that we have mutual friends who are watching this and might pass this information along to this person, and in their mind, this former friend might have a very different interpretation of the events of what happened, and they never knew, or will never know, that now looking back on it, feel like I was using this mother energy on them.
And Meredith, here's the thing about that, like, as somebody who came away from my Brovorce as the bad guy, or at least immediately in that time as the bad guy, I think now everybody involved in that situation kind of knows I really wasn't the bad guy. Mm-hmm. You just kind of, unfortunately, you just have to accept that there's not much you can do to change that.
Yeah. And
it sucks, but that's the reality. There's nothing that you can say or do that's going to get you back into that group where people are going to go, oh, I see what happened. Fuck her.
Right. I'm fortunate on the flip side where the people that meant the most to me, the mutual friends that we had that I was like wanting to keep, I did. And that the other friends, that were more her friends, I will never know what she told them. I will never know if she just showed them word for word. I will never know if she told them her version, if she blamed. I will never know what she said, and that's okay. And actually, there is 1 or 2 of her friends that I still sort of am in touch with on the socials, who her and I have been in touch for different reasons entirely. I've been tempted to ask her about them, about if when she went through a very difficult time in her life with conceiving a child, if she was supportive. Like, I've been tempted, but I'm not, because I don't want to go back to that place.
But again,
I don't want to go back to that place.
Right, exactly. That's one of those things that you just need to be done with it. It's going back to that over and over again and wondering about what if, or what are they doing now, or can I fix it? No, you can't fix it. No, you can't go back. And so I don't want to say who cares, right? Because that's insensitive. I get that you care because you're just a caring person, but you can't do anything about it.
No, and it doesn't really help that there are still a couple of mutual friends who don't really understand what went wrong, or who know that we were super close for a long time and are like, well, it's just so sad. And it's like, well, maybe it is, but for me, it needed to happen. For me, as the person who was experiencing the bad, toxic relationship, it needed to be done. It ran its course. And not all friendships are like that. Some friendships are lifelong, and those are the best kind. But some are just not meant to be that way. Some friendships are meant to serve a purpose for something in your life, and that friendship did. It's interesting because when I asked questions about people's experience ending friendships, some of them, the friendship being toxic was mentioned. Having like a one-way friendship and the other person never making time for you anymore was another reason that came up. Outgrowing the friendship. A lot of the people that responded to my poll, what the friendships that had ended up ending were over 10 years long. So which I think is like, it's super hard to make that choice. If you're choosing to end it versus it kind of fizzles, it's super hard to choose to end a friendship you've had for that long. That's a long chunk of growth. So it's hard. And I think it's interesting because it does seem there's all kinds of different reasons why you do it. And, your reason was when it, kind of everything that had happened kind of went against your moral code. And mine was, I just didn't need it anymore. I needed to move on.
Yep.
So
yeah.
There's that. Ending adult friendships.
And ending our time here on Twitch. See what I did there?
Yeah, I did.
Anyway.
So, yes.
That's us. We'll figure out something to talk about next week.
And
we'll post it up on the interwebs and,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
We might even ask for your opinions, because sometimes we just don't know what we want to talk about.
It's true. If you're having trouble and you need to ask questions, we can talk about that kind of stuff.
He's getting better at he's getting better at
I'm now officially a dad. I can make bad dad jokes, so,
No, that's not how it
Yeah.
works. You can't just say, oh, it's fine. I can just do whatever I want and be ridiculous.
No, but I can make dad jokes now. So.
Why aren't there mom jokes?
That's been us. I have some D&D shit to do with my D&D folks. Mara, if you're still out there, we have some D&D shit to do.
I care.
Monday night, this coming Monday night, if you want to watch Meredith and I, Miss Mayberry, Miss Mayberry. If you want to watch Miss Mayberry and I...
Maryberry.
Yes. Play some D&D on the internet. We will be doing that this coming Monday at 9 o'clock on this channel right here. So if you wanna get a notification when we go live, you can click follow down there.
I would like to respond to a comment that's saying that I need to respect D&D. I respect that my husband has a hobby of playing D&D. I don't like that.
No bias, says the other folks who stream D&D or Pathfinder.
I you do you, man. I don't like it when it interferes with my life.
That's why it's at 9 o'clock at night.
But you are the night dog person, so I don't like it when D&D interferes with that, and I have to take the dogs out. I'm good.
Anyway, if you want notifications, click the follow button down over there. We'll be doing that on Monday at 9. And then Sunday, I have the beer show. We are going to be talking about some shit on Sunday. Let me tell you.
Oh, Can I come on?
We had a topic planned, and we still probably will talk about it. We were going to continue our bracket of the best breweries in Minnesota. Waffles Maple Syrup is also a big beer drinker.
Yeah, but James is asking about an ASL question. Oh. I have time for that. I don't know if you're
let's. So, there's some controversy that went down this week in the Minnesota craft beer world. Has to do with a racist brewery owner, and in no uncertain words, fuck Cale Johnson of 56 Brewing. We will be talking about that on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So on that note, yes, you know how to get a hold of me. Get a hold of me about your ASL question.
No, he said got time. Maybe he wants to see you sign something,
like
or
right
something
now,
like that.
Or do you want to message me about it?
Sure.
Because I got time.
No, shoot, we got a minute or two.
Oh, now we do.
Yeah.
Now that it's about ASL and not about me talking about my friendships.
He might need to see you sign it. I don't know.
Is that a question you want me to answer here? Because I can.
What?
James.
Oh.
Oh, here we go. Okay. Yes. All right. So, does the Minnesota governor, the governor's interpreter has 2 interpreters? Does that help with translation? So, what I'm going to do first is refer anyone who's watching, if you have questions at all about why there's 2. Oh wait. You mean Nick has 2 interpreters? Is that what you mean? Nick, the deaf interpreter, has 2 interpreters? Is that what you mean? Yes. So for Minnesota, when the governor does his press conferences every day, Minnesota is kind of on top of things when it comes to the world of interpreting and deaf culture. So every press conference has a certified deaf interpreter on screen with the governor interpreting into American Sign Language. And there have been 2 news stories done by Jana Shortall from KARE 11 about Nick Zapko, who is such a phenomenal deaf interpreter and just person in the deaf community. Nope, Zapko. He's Googling it, I think, and linking it maybe. So Nick is a certified deaf interpreter. Nick has 2 hearing interpreters, maybe just 1. I think there's 2 hearing interpreters that are...
I'm going to put them in chat, guys.
That's what I meant. But you're fine. You're good. There's 2. That's the second one. Yep, perfect. There are 2 hearing interpreters who are sitting in the audience that you don't see on camera, who are listening to the governor or whoever's speaking and interpreting it from English to American Sign Language. And then Nick, being a deaf person and a native ASL user, meaning she has grown up using ASL is her first language, can really take that message in the mind of a deaf person and translate it and give it the nuance of a deaf person, of someone's native language.
From my perspective, because this is something that's confusing to me too, and I'm married to a sign language interpreter, and my in-laws are deaf, right? So it confused the shit out of me too, to be honest with you. And I still don't fully understand it, but this is what I know. English and ASL are not direct translations of one another.
Yeah, 100%
right?
no.
There is signed English, which is basically the words that I'm saying right now. You sign those words. And then there's...
American Sign Language.
American Sign Language, which is not the same.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to the grocery store is signed differently in ASL than I'm going to the grocery store.
So I'm going to the grocery store would translate into store, I go.
Food store.
No, just store.
No? Okay.
Well, I guess if you say grocery.
Yeah.
I don't know. No, actually, waffles, maple syrup. They're saying it would take too long to sign a full English transliteration sentence than actual ASL. That is actually incorrect. It depends. This is the phrase that I've heard 1,000 times in my interpreting program. It is the most annoying phrase, but it is true. It depends. They're English.
Can you give examples?
English is dumb. English is the worst. It's the worst. Oh gosh, I'm not good at on the fly stuff like this, but if there's a concept, like if we're talking, so I work with students who have been using ASL for years and who learned ASL over the course of the last 5 years since they've been in the country. And so talking about something like, I don't know, I can't think of an example. If you were to say like, I can't do on the fly stuff like this. Crap. Syrup is bilingual. There you go. It is. Sometimes there are concepts that you say the English word and a native English speaker gets the reference, gets what it means. But in ASL, there is not a direct translation.
Like idioms?
Kind of like idioms. Kind of, yes, which are the worst. I hate idioms. Just hate them for interpreting. I'm sure I do it all the time.
But I think that probably is a good example. If I said an English idiom that everyone listening to us would understand, you would have to sit there and expand on it because they don't know what that means.
So for example, today I was interpreting a meeting between a teacher and a student for summer school, and the teacher was talking about taking driver's ed and needing to learn the rules of the road, and how the fly's hard. Syrup's mom is partially deaf. We talked about learning ASL. Yeah,
Okay.
There's lots of free virtual things going on right now because of COVID. Oh, Carly! Thank you!
Another interpreter.
One of my coworkers, my work bestie. It's also context rich and English is context lean. Things are explained, said in ASL that are assumed in English. Correct. There's a lot of assumed knowledge. So for example, today, the teacher is talking about how, and we notified this student that as a deaf person, when you take your written test for your permit, you can and you should have a sign language interpreter there for that test. Now, and then the interpreter can't give you the answers. And he's like, what? Why? And we're like, well, because that's cheating. He's 17, so there's that. But they, sorry, that's my go to bed alarm.
So, okay, I just looked up common English idioms, right? Bite the bullet. I know what that means.
Right.
Everyone watching probably knows what that means.
Oh my. Okay, I'm giving a real life example. I have one. Thank you, Carly, for coming back and reminding me without saying it. Fish out of water. That came up in class, which was fine because we had a real long conversation about it, like a fish out of water. Fish out of water. She was interpreting, not me. Thanks, pal. Fish out of water. So here's the thing. In ASL, I wouldn't ignore the English phrase. I would sign or fingerspell fish out of water. Fish out of water. And they're just like, okay, the fish came out of water. And. So you have to say, like, okay, so a fish lives in water. If they come on the land, they're flopping around. They don't live in the land. They don't live out of the water. It's awkward, it's weird, it's uncomfortable. So you have to explain the idiom because it's not as simple as there's implied meaning of fish out of water. They're like, okay, a fish comes out of water. So there's that whole extra explaining piece of like, yes. So back to the original question about the governor's address. Yes, so Nick is a native ASL user, and one of the key things, so if you watch the second interview where they interview the hearing interpreter and Nick, she's one of my mentors. Love her. Yay, Patty. She's one of the key points that she brings up is, as hearing interpreters, I've lived in this language for 37 years. I've been around this language forever. It is like my native language. I do not, nor will I ever have the lived experience of being a deaf person. And that makes all the difference in how would a deaf person understand this message the best. Who is best to deliver that? A deaf person.
Torments.
I'm not going there.
What's going on, buddy?
So
another old gaming friend.
Okay, so I do recommend. Bobby did post the links to the 2 Care 11 stories in the chat here. If you have more questions about the deaf interpreter, and it's not just Nick. We have several deaf interpreters that have been on camera for these governor addresses, but I'd recommend checking those out because Nick herself explains more about what it means to be a certified deaf interpreter and why not just have one person there. Why not just read the prompter? Like, why? So yeah. Maybe that's an episode we do. You guys just send me or him all your questions about sign language, and I'll try to answer them. Maybe we'll even pull in Carly as a guest because she's here. I'm picking on her because she's watching. It doesn't necessarily have to be her, but we could pull in somebody as a guest. Yeah. So anyway, yes. She's in. We're doing it some week. Right. So yes, sorry that ran over longer than you wanted it to, okay. And now I have to caption this episode.
Here's the thing: it's totally fine. It's our show. We can do whatever the fuck we want.
Yes, that's fair, Meredith. We can try doing a gaming topic, but I would have nothing to say. Whereas Bobby has some stuff to pull in for sign language from his own personal experience with taking classes in it and being part of a deaf family and all that. So I have nothing to pull in from gaming other than I don't have good feelings about it because for a long time in our relationship it occupied our relationship.
But now I know all these cool people from it. And people that I've known for literally years that are now popping up, hanging out and chat with us.
That's true. That's fair. But again, I had nothing to like say about it. So we just
True.
be Bobby
You're
being
not a
like,
gamer. She's not a gamer.
And I'd be like, wow, literally. Like the game or
No, wow as in...
Okay, with that, we're gonna I think it's time for us to go.
Cut.
I'm gonna get some more rosé.
Cut.
And we're gonna go to
We'll fix that in post. Don't worry.
We will not. We're not that fancy.
There's no post-production here. No.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, see you next week.
Bye.
Yes, James.